Welcome to fmtraining.tv. Today we have Calvin Moseyman here once again. Calvin, are you there? Do we hear you? Calvin, that was awful.
I'm here, yes.
There you go.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear. So we are broadcasting live, and you can't see Calvin. Calvin's at one of our East Coast offices, but we love Calvin. Calvin did a great job yesterday with the audit trail information, where we were showing you how to build an audit trail into the FileMaker platform and making that work for you. And so today what we want to do is go ahead and pick up a conversation that today was supposed to be kind of this open Q&A. And what was interesting about it was the part about the Q&A was real interesting, because what ended up happening was that it exposed the idea of custom menus that Calvin had built in his starter in a sample file for the audit trail. And the issue was that people use custom menus for one of two reasons. And really, a custom menu, if you open like a copy of FM Starting Point, the idea with the custom menus, you can do one of a couple different things with it. One of which is that you can add a new menu at the top completely, like right up here you see a menu. That's the coaching menu. However, you can add a menu, you can remove menus for the most part, there are some exceptions, and you can also then rename a menu. Or you can take a menu that's there with a command that's in there and overwrite it, which is what Calvin needed to do. So the reason you have custom menus are one of a couple different reasons. A very common one, though, is that someone says, if I allow the user to hit Command E, which is delete record, we want to override that. So you can lock them totally out of like the delete record command, or you could leave it in there and have it run a script instead that does something else. You know, it looks like it's deleting to the user, but really it's not deleting. It's actually, maybe archiving the record and hiding it so the user thinks it's deleted, but in reality, you still have it. So the idea is to override a default behavior of FileMaker. In Calvin's case, you were overwriting the new record command, right? That was what you were going after?
So yeah, we were, the end of that conversation yesterday with the audit log brought up the idea of the custom menus and the different reasons we might want those, which you just kind of covered. So I took that contacts sample file from FileMaker that we put the audit log in, and I just went ahead and added a custom menu to show how you could use a custom menu to change the delete function. And so the way to access the custom menus to change it is either under File, Manage, Custom Menus, or you can, if you have the advanced tools enabled, you can go to Tools, Custom Menus, Manage Custom Menus. So the one of the things that I run into a lot of times is that users in their app do not want anyone deleting records. And so a lot of times we will add a no delete custom menu set that it doesn't even give the option. So here I'm going to select from my list of custom menus, no delete. And you'll see the delete button disabled. I can't even click it now. And if I go to records, you'll see new record, duplicate record, go to record. We skipped delete. There's no delete option. If I right click on the record, we have new record, but no delete option. I had one client that was repeatedly would right click on a record and select delete record. And he was the administrator, so I couldn't remove all delete options for him. But what we did was we installed the custom menu set so that he wouldn't have that option when he right clicked, and instead he had a button, so he knew what he was doing and made sure he was deleting the portal item and not an entire record. Let's go ahead and look at the custom menu and see how this no delete is set up. Here's a list of all of our custom menu options. Standard FileMaker menus is the one that comes with each app, and then you can add custom menu sets just by saying create. Let's go ahead and select this no delete one. And here's a list of those menu names. So this list of names corresponds with this list across the top of the screen, or if you're in Windows, it's going to be across the top of your FileMaker window. So we've got File, Edit. The menu name is a name that we assign to it to keep track of what that list is. So here I say records no delete, but I don't want my clients or my users to see records no delete up here. So I have this display name records. So it looks just normal, but it's showing records no delete options. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Now, what we're looking at is the records no delete. And here we see that we have the default name of records that's going to display up here. We could change this to something else if we wanted to. We'll get into that later. And then we have our list of options. And the only thing I did here, this corresponds with the list of options here. So we see new record, duplicate record, go to records, a submenu. So these correspond with the options under the menu. The only change I made here was to remove the delete and delete all options so that users don't have those options to delete. It doesn't mean they can't delete it in another layout, but and it's not, we're not removing the option from security. That'd be another level of security that we'd want to address another time. But here, this is just the options not there on the layout. I'm going to select cancel to close out of here. And in this example, no delete, we just removed the option completely. Let's look at the audit log contacts. And in this case, we give them the option to delete, but instead of running the standard delete, let me go ahead and demo it first. I'm going to go to Tools, Custom Menus, Audit Log Contacts. And so our delete button was just enabled. We'll see that. I'm going to say New Record, and we'll say add a new John Appleseed, and save that. Now we have our audit log that we had yesterday set up. And now when I select delete right here in the button in our toolbar, we'll see instead of just running the basic delete command, it's running this audit log delete record. So it's running my custom script that asks permanently delete this entire record. I can say delete or cancel. I'll say delete. And then here it runs that script trigger, or that same script that was creating the audit log to say this record was deleted. I'm going to go ahead and jump through there. It commits to save the audit log record and then deletes the record without with dialog off, because we already had our standard dialog. So it ran the script instead of running just a plain delete command. Let's see how that looks in the settings. So again, Tools, Custom Menus, Manage Custom Menus. Let's go to Audit Log Contacts. Again, for the audit log, here are the list of all of the records, or all of the actions that we want. Let's look at the records audit log and delete record. And here, so we do have delete record. I did remove the delete all. I didn't want to have that option in there. And for delete record, it's based on the same command. We're saying that this is based on the same delete record. We want it to behave in the toolbar just the same way that we would interact with the delete. But instead of the default behavior, we're saying perform this action. And when we specify that action, we're actually specifying the script we want to run, and in this case, the contacts delete record that we already just looked at. So that's how we're customizing that behavior there. Let me go ahead and save those. So there's a lot of customization that we can do in these custom menu sets, referencing different scripts and such. So and removing options as well. So I have this option called no options, and it just removes all of the menu options that we're allowed to remove. We still have the FileMaker Pro Advanced. We can't remove that one. The tools, because I have the advanced tools enabled, that's there, and the help stays as well.
So David's asking, so we're having almost no questions on the YouTube side of things, which is really interesting. We're having most of the questions on the Twitch side of things. We have most of the viewers over here, which is interesting. So David says, if you take out the menu, the delete option, the delete will be unavailable, right? So that's on topic. Let's why don't you ask that, go through that, Calvin.
Yeah, so the in this custom menu that I called no delete, the record menu set has the delete option removed. If I cancel out of here, I'm going to say add to add a new list, and I'm going to select the record standard. So this is the standard list of record options, and we'll see the delete record and delete all. Now, I'm going to remove this. In the no delete one, those two options are removed. I'm going to save these and show you what that looks like over here. I have no delete saved, and because the no delete is applied to this layout, the icon is here that says delete record, but it's grayed out. It doesn't work. If I right click, I have new record option, but no delete record option. And so it really helps to control what people's ability is in a given layout, which kind of brings up the idea of how to apply these to a app or to a particular file or for a particular person. If we look at, maybe I should ask if that answered that question sufficiently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just whenever you get between thoughts, just go ahead and give a pause here so we can take a breath and respond to questions. There is a kind of a conversation going here right now. So iMog was a little bit late to the party, which is fine. He wanted to know, normally he just turns the deletes off with the permissions from the security side, right? And so when they press the button, it just doesn't work, or it's, I mean, but it doesn't remove it, right? I mean, if you remove the delete record command out of security, it's just grayed out, right? Isn't that how that works? I'm pretty sure. It grays it. It doesn't remove it entirely out of the menu.
That's a great question. Should we try it out?
Yeah, you should. Really,
I think what I'm guessing is that it's not grayed out, and I think that it's not grayed out, and that it just gives you an error message when you try it. It says your privileges do not allow you to perform this action. So I'm going to call this no delete. And this is I'll just call the name no delete as well. No password, and the new privilege set is going to be based on. I'm just going to call this no delete as well.
Yeah, but you got everything turned off, Calvin. You might want to duplicate the admin one or something.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and advanced settings. Say duplicate. Call this one no delete. I'm going to say custom privileges. And on everything, we're going to say delete is no, but everything else is yes. Okay. All this other axis looks fine. Okay, and this password is called no delete. Or the account name is no delete, and the password is no password. Just allow. Close this and open back up. And I'm going to call this no. I'm going to sign in as no delete. And it is grayed out.
Yeah.
So let me just make sure that our custom menu set. Our custom menu set is actually set to no delete. So let's see if I go over here. And yeah, it's still grayed out. So you're right. The delete option is grayed out.
So it's important to point out here is that the if we turn things off in security, they'll be grayed out, but they'll still be there, right? So people can still see delete, and most of the time this is okay for a internal solution, but a higher level of polish or professionalism on a solution, we're going to either remove the delete entirely or we repurpose it. And that was the point of the demo, iMog, was that that we could leave delete on, but instead of it running a delete command, it runs which does what we want. If nothing else, we could say, hey, you're not allowed to delete. But more appropriately, I could see people saying, Well, we're not going to really delete the record, but the user thinks they should. So we're taking the tack that we're going to let them delete, but instead we're going to take the record and maybe we move it into an archive table and save it there, and then we can delete it out of this one table, if that makes sense. So then the idea is that you can leave the delete command in. The menu buttons up at the top are repurposed to run your script. And the keyboard shortcuts, Command N, Command New, Command Delete, Command E, all that kind of stuff. You can hijack those keyboard shortcuts, and instead of running the default command, you're going to end up running a script that you wrote yourself. So it's an optional thing. It presents a higher level of polish. Calvin, why don't you just follow along here for a second? So let's go ahead and go back up to the script. The trick with this, and Calvin's blowing through this, it's one of those things you have to play with a little bit, but you need to probably log out and then log back in. So one of the things as an admin, one of the things to understand is that custom menus can be set differently for different layouts. A layout, when you if you go to layout setup, isn't that where you can set that? That's one of the areas you can set the custom menu. So if we go to so if you go to layout setup, you can set a layout to use a custom menu setup. There's also a script step that allows you to change the menu setups, the layout menu. So what's important to understand, if we go back into tools and we want to manage the custom menus, there's your script step there. And once again, the lag is killing me and Calvin today. But if we go into the custom menu set, each of these, okay, Calvin, you just need, you're so far behind. So I'm talking and he's a solid 15 seconds behind, and that's why we seem like we're very uncoordinated today. And then the rest of you are 60 to 90 seconds behind. Can you go to the custom menu for me, Calvin, and stay there? Or I can just switch and do it myself. Right, so
manage custom menus.
All right, so what happens right here, it's important to understand, is that each of these are a complete set. Okay, so really when you say no delete, that's, in my mind, it implies that these aren't just the specific menus. This is an entire set. So what more likely what you would have, instead of bogus and no delete and no options and that kind of thing, you're going to have a set for the sales team. It'll say sales team, or it'll be the marketing team, or it'll be whatever team there are, and you will, like you would create a custom privilege set for them with a privilege set called marketing or sales. You would create a menu set specific for that group of people, and so you set these sets up here. You can apply them on a per layout basis as the default for the layout, but you can also, then this is where we want to go ahead and go to the script. You can actually in flight change the menu set via script. So you have complete script control. So that's where you're going to show the script and you're going to say install menu set. The word install is kind of a bad term because FileMaker doesn't use this anywhere else in the world. And they don't use normally the word install, but what it means is it should be activate or turn on, or it should be set menu set. Well, okay, that's good. Set menu set would be a better term. You're going to set a menu set. That's really what it is. They use the word install because they didn't want to say set twice in one statement. But the idea, because install sounds like you're doing an installation. Nowhere else does FileMaker use that word except when you're actually installing software legitimately. So, IMOG's already played with this quite a bit. Okay, and then for MailSoft from yesterday, that recording is up from yesterday. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is, if Miles is here in the broadcast, or one of Charles or one of our other folks is here, what we want to do is definitely, if you can post the link both to YouTube and to Twitch, and go ahead and put the link into yesterday's video. These videos are being sent out at 1080. You see them at 1080 on Twitch. But what we want to do is find the link for the for the recording from yesterday, and one of the videos guys says they already cleaned it up, because yesterday we had a little bit of a in-flight malfunction where Twitch started late and we had to kind of repeat the first 15 minutes. So anyway, we'll give you that link so you can watch yesterday's broadcast, because I don't see going back and hitting the audit trail anytime in the near future. Every time we have a conversation, it spawns additional conversations. What's interesting about that? So we spawn a conversation, and I'm a little bit overly red today. Sorry about that. So if I actually go to my FileMaker system over here, I can take a look at our internal, the way we manage. Let me see, recent. Do I have CMS in here? Not really. All right, so what I need to do is I need to go to hosts. I need to go to DBW4, and then I need to go to the CMS system and see if I can pop it open so you folks can see what's going on. So, like I said, we have several. This is where we're using the Video Library Publication Kit. And so if you go to our training website and live, you're seeing this information right here. So this is tomorrow's webinar and the next 7 webinars, or 6, 6 of them on there. But if I want to see the actual date, I can come over here and take a look at hit the button for future webinars. And so these are the webinars that are scheduled right here. You can look right, while you can only see the first, I can see beyond that where we're doing a CRM, we're doing open Q&A. We're going to have a session on Monday, April 6th on deprecated features, and they need to fix the artwork on this one. But the deprecated features, the features that FileMaker has pulled out of the product and will additionally pull out of the product as we move forward. One of those is like the building the run times and things like that. Right here is the session I was talking about. We might be able to move this up in the queue. If you see this lock indicators right here, it means that we publish these events back to Claris Incorporated. That's on their website. So if it hasn't been, it's hard for me to change these in flight, but anything below this I can change. April Fools, we could bump the second. We could put the tools conversation in here, but basically these tools right here, there's a lot of tools in here besides the custom menus, and we want to kind of dig through these and talk about these, right? And so we could bump that forward if you would like. The developer utilities is really its own entire conversation, right? So that's where you do the kiosk, you do attaching files for security, you do encryption, ear encryption, you do a lot of stuff in there. So so you can see what we have going. You folks have any questions about upcoming? If you actually right now would be really good if you have any questions or suggestions about events you would like to see. That would be useful, because then I can if I can take that feedback back to the team, and it's about a 60-second delay here. Yeah. So iMod got up to speed, and we need to do so iMog just asked a question here, and that's going to be one of the things we're covering, deprecated features. FileMaker is removing the runtime capability out of the product entirely. It's in FileMaker 19. It's still in FileMaker 19. And it's going to be pulled. And there are people who've created businesses based upon that. FileMaker has done research on this. They haven't seen any revenue come to them from people who do the runtime. People say, oh, I do the runtime, and people buy the full app. Most people never buy the full app. If they get a runtime, it works, they just kind of let it go. So FileMaker has been not investing in this. It doesn't do a lot of important things like automatically create PDFs and charting and things like that. There's a lot of things missing from the runtime because they have had plans to kill it for about 10 years. And I was shocked it's in FileMaker 19. It's still in 19. It will be removed. And you say, well, how can you talk about FileMaker 19? Because FileMaker on their website is already talking about 19 pretty openly, blatantly. And so I say FileMaker, but once again, Claris Corporation. So if I say FileMaker, that's just me 30 years of doing it the other way. Is there a PDF? How do you have a PDF in kiosk mode? Yeah, because the kiosk mode is not runtime, okay? So to have kiosk mode, I mean, you can combine the kiosk and runtime together, but realistically, you can have a FileMaker Pro app that when you open it up, all the menus are gone. In fact, Calvin, if you want to do that on your end real quick, kick out a kiosk. I'm not going to go through the details of it, but if you want to make a copy of your file, kiosk that thing for me, and then we will switch to you and you can see it. And that will preview what we're going to do on April 2nd. We'll move that up in the schedule. So MailSoft is asking about locking records. That's a good conversation. Let me know when it's ready. Locking records would be a good one we could put in here. I can just for now, I can just create a new record in here, and I'll say locking records. What else do you folks want to see? Just since I'm asking the question real quick. So yeah, runtime basically means that it's when you of course I'm explaining things that are being removed from the product, so it's kind of awkward. IMOG, it's IMAG or IMOG? It's IMOG, and that is that when you kick out a runtime, it like for example, if I open up FileMaker Pro here, or on my computer, I'm looking at my hard drive. So I have the FileMaker app right here. Okay, if you say, oh, I want to sell starting point, and I want to create it with a runtime so people don't have to buy FileMaker, you can kick out what it does. You run a process. It kicks out a special version of this file. It moves it over here. Then it creates a special version of FileMaker Pro right here next to it, right? And it renames it. And so these files are attached together. So I just kind of simulated this. This is not what's happening here. But when you're done running the Kiosk the runtime process, you would get a modified file that only runs right here with this file right here. And this file is a full copy of FileMaker Pro, but it doesn't have any creation capabilities. There's no editing layouts and defining fields and editing scripts and things like that. And so these are what you can legally distribute these, right, as a runtime solution. FileMaker gets no revenue out of this. As a result of this feature, they're pulling it because they're very much in the business right now that if they're not going to make money off of it, they're not going to support it. And so that feature, now that you've asked the question, has been in the product since FileMaker 3 technically, but since FileMaker 3, and it will be removed. I don't think it'll be in the product by the end of the year. Okay, and so as a result, it's just not. So now that I've explained what it is, don't use it, right? So there you go. So people asking about API stuff, I need to get. We'll have to see if Calvin wants to come back and do that. API JSON with curl, or we get Hogel to do it. Hogel's got some free cycles, so that's great. What's that, Calvin?
I have the kiosk mode enabled.
Okay, so we're going to switch back to Calvin real quick here. I do apologize for the in-flight adjustment of our training, but that's what we do here. Calvin, where are you? You should be over here. No, like that. There you go. All right, so now go ahead and exit it. Can you exit that, or did you screw yourself out of that? I think you screwed yourself, right? Is it Command Q work?
I screwed myself.
You're gonna have to force. Okay, this is the educational. Go and force quit. Go and force quit.
Nope.
You got to force quit. You're screwed. You have.
Yeah, I'm locked in this layout completely. So I'm completely screwed.
Okay.
So I don't have access to force quit.
What? Really? Okay, stop. So all right. So okay. Well, I really want to see people opening the file and seeing what happens. So what happened, this is the same FileMaker file with Kiosk mode. But when you do Kiosk mode, there are no menus. You can't make them pop up, which means that the quit option is gone. Now, so wait, you can't hit Option, Command, Escape on your Mac and force quit it? Calvin?
That's not working, no.
Okay.
It's not working.
So you're locked in the screen until you shut your computer off. Okay. Well, Calvin's going to be leaving the conversation here while we explode him, right? So, yeah. So, so this is what Kiosk is, right? And normally you would design it that it would size it. It would size itself to fill up the screen. So you would run a startup script that would automatically resize so it fills up the available space. This is actually pretty cool. I like this a lot, but this shows you, this is why we weren't prepared to talk about Kiosk mode, because you got to have a little bit of preparation. You just can't, it's literally like talking to you guys and talking to Calvin. I feel like, I had an engineer explain this to me once, that we're having this live training. We're flying along in the airplane, and I'm your captain speaking, not the left wing. We can see the Grand Canyon, right? And Calvin's the co-pilot, but now I've got Calvin. He's opened the window. We're doing 500 knots. He's out the window. He's on the wing working on the engine while we're flying along. And now the engine just fell off. And so IMOG says, get the hell out, Calvin. So you are expelled. Call me back when you fix your computer. So I have just ejected Calvin from the world. Yeah, iMog. I just had to blow him up. So scroll fingers up to new desktop. Assuming he's on a laptop. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, you'd have to play with that a little bit and figure it out. But once again, it's like, okay, well, we should have used a different wrench when we got on the wing to change the engine of the plane while it's flying. So anyway, moving along. Yeah, he needed a quit button. That's the thing. So once again, there's a little bit of lag between me talking. When you see the interaction, it'll already have happened about 60 seconds ago. So he's on a Mac. Option. Next time we could try that option tab. There are things to get around it, but I wasn't going to try to have a in-flight engine changing moment any more than we could with Calvin. So that's the kiosk mode is cool. It's awesome. It's just it's designed for a kiosk that runs in the front of a building. All right, so we have some additional things on that end. So let's get back to the custom menus. Calvin will call me here shortly, I'm sure, after he figures out how to fix his computer. So questions about the yeah, David, I'm not there with him, and he's on a Mac, and so there's no Alt. It would be Option Tab, and I've already ejected him into space. So yeah, so he's gone. I blew him out. It's like the aliens. Have you ever seen the alien movies? We're going to put the alien in the airlock, and we're going to blow it into space. Calvin has been blown out into space. So I need like a little sound, and then he blows out. So I have sound effects and stuff. So questions about custom menus. Custom menu, custom menu, custom menus. Custom menus. Anyone? Custom menus? Yeah, so trying to get the Twitch logged on. It's all the fun things. All right, so custom menus, anyone? So right here, it's important to understand. So when we open FM Starting Point initially, I go ahead and close this right here. Oh, wrong button. What you can see right here is that we do have a custom menu installed. So in this situation with the custom menu, we ended up we left all the other commands intact, but we just added a coaching menu here that says if you need coaching help, you can come to a page here. It actually pops a web page. So it's an ability for us to just add some additional information, assuming the person has a screen that could support a menu, that extra menu. If we want to edit it, once again, you have to edit the custom menus, you have to be in oh, there's Calvin. So Calvin's back. Don't share your screen for now. Calvin, are you there? Calvin, are you there?
I'm back, yes.
Yeah, don't share your screen for now. A lot of people had suggestions about holding Alt Option and your left foot in the air and holding your breath for 30 seconds, but I will let you work that out in advance before we try changing the engine on the plane next time. At the moment, I'm just showing Starting Point has a coaching menu at the top, and once again, we can edit this or look at this by saying Manage Custom Menus. We say that this is a standard FileMaker custom menu right here, and then over here, this one up above here is the FMSP custom menu. If we say edit that, we can see that it has everything else that's kind of standard, and what we did is we added this one extra menu right here. We can say edit that, and then we could add, so if we wanted to create an extra thing in here, we could have it's a coaching menu, but we could say the override title, let's see, unknown. See, I haven't done one of these in a while, Calvin, so where do I, item name, we could say it could be called, email iMog, because iMog is always chatty with us. So we could say email iMog, and then with that name item in there, we could run a script. Oh, that's the title of it right there. That's cool. And then but it has to be in quotes. Sorry, my bad. It's a string. And then once it does that, it can run a command right there. You can specify it, or let's see, install Win1. And once again, the modes can change based upon whether you're in browse mode, find mode, or preview mode. So once again, you have to think about all this stuff. So when I want to attach this to a script, where do I attach this, Calvin? I'm not sure I want to share my screen with you, but if I'm on the Edit Custom Menu screen, I guess I could show it to you real quick here.
Yeah, to attach it to a script, you select where it says
action. There it is, right there. Action.
Yeah, action.
Got it.
Second from the last.
All right, so then we have a script. We could say create a new script. I could say email. My caps lock is down. I'm not sure what that is. Email. There's a feverish conversation going over here to my left. So I can, my peripheral vision here left, I can see the conversation going up and down. So anyway, so I want to answer EFG 52's conversation. 1 second, we're not going to forget because we'll summarize this. So once again, you add the command right here. You could actually say, you could actually run an email or send, right? Send mail. Yeah, it's not email, send mail. Because email is not the dictionary, depends on which dictionary you look at. Email is a word or email is not a word, and sometimes it looks a whole lot like that. So you could go in here, customize the settings, and have it email someone. Instead, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have it beep for me, and I'll hit OK, and I'll hit OK, and I'll hit OK, and I'll hit OK, and then it'll occur, and it'll occur. And then if I come down here and I hit that, I get a beep. So that's how that kind of works. So the question from Echo Foxtrot Golf was, what's best, custom menus or security privileges? And I'll let you answer that question, Calvin.
Okay, that's a great question. So it really depends on your use case. So if you remember, I had the client that at the beginning I mentioned he kept deleting records. He was the administrator of the app. And so I couldn't remove the delete feature from him. I couldn't delete his privilege set from deleting. He actually had full access, but I did remove the privilege set, the menu item delete, so he wouldn't accidentally delete when he didn't mean to. And so it really depends on your use case. If you don't want users deleting records, then yes, they should have their security updated. But we would rather them, instead of getting a disabled delete that they can never use, just have no delete option, so they just don't see it.
Or repurpose it.
Repurpose it, right.
Yeah.
And we talked about repurposing it as far as in this demo that I gave. We're creating an audit log saying something was deleted. One thing that audit log could do is actually save all the data from the record, so we could regenerate it if we wanted to, or view all that the deleted list somewhere, kind of like a trash can, where you see everything there, but it's not deleted until you empty the trash.
So I think most people don't use the custom menu set because it's like applying a high polish to your application. It makes things nicer instead of having things grayed out, because normally we all do it the same way. It's quick, it's easy. Frankly, in life, it's hard enough to set the security sometimes. Okay, it's hard enough to set the security under File, Manage, and Security. That can be challenging enough as it is. And just graying it out internally for our own staff or projects. If it's grayed out, then don't push the button. Everyone's trained to do that. But if you're trying to make a high polish application, either removing it entirely or repurposing it to do something else. So custom menus is a higher level of polish, I would guess. So cool. So iMogging. I'm looking for people. There you go, Calvin. Your phone is just you might want to mute that in the future, right? Like one of those little pre-launch checklist items is you mute your stuff. So, but Calvin's done a very good job, everyone. What do you think? Calvin done a good job? He other than throwing the word kiosk in there, which resulted in him getting blown into space. That's why we didn't even show you how to do it. It's not really that hard. It's just the law of unintended consequences, right? You say kiosk and we show it to you, then you blow your computer up. Now, some of the folks think you could command tab, but did you have any keyboard control at all to the operating system, like command tab? Because command tab allows you to.
Oh yeah, I tried command tab. It's completely locked. When it's in kiosk mode, you don't have access to the other apps. It's locked in.
So command tab. So you couldn't like if I do command tab right now, I get this little selection of. So I'm holding the command key down on my Mac, and I can select a different app, like Stickies or something.
Yeah, the command tab does not work when you're in kiosk mode.
Okay.
Yes, I did try it.
Okay, so pretty much he's blown out control. So if I take the menu, show all records, Control J. Yeah, you can so yeah, that's the point. If you come in here and you hijack something with a keyboard shortcut, you repurpose it to do your own script. Then when we showed that at the beginning of the hour, and maybe the point is, instead of you deleting, you're running your own script. Instead of running a new record command, you run a script which does a new record, but it maybe sets some fields and does some other paperwork that you need, some process things. So instead of you saying, okay, user, if you create a new record, then I need you to do these 5 things. And if they press the button on screen, like say you're hiding the status menu, and they hit the new button, then they follow the correct process. But if they come under records and hit new record here, they're bypassing your entire process. They're blowing your workflow. And then you have users creating improperly built records because your business workflow is not being followed, right? And so what you do is you tell that, you do a custom menu that tells the new record to run the same script. So if you had a new record button in here that was new and you could control it with a script, you tell that right there to run it as well. So if they press Command in, new, it does the things you need it to do with the script. So it's to hijack or take over a keyboard shortcut, to remove something they can't do entirely, or to add a brand new menu item entirely to it. So if I'm in browse mode, notice that custom menu here, once again, if I go home, coaching shows up. If I go to this layout here, it's not here. That's because different layouts can be set with different menus. So it's standard menus here. If I go to the home screen, it's like, oh, by the way, since you're here, if you need help, give us a call, right? And so here you can see, once again, the custom menu is the custom one here. And with a script, I can override and use the install word, install a custom menu onto a layout. So yeah, so everyone says iMog only gives you 7 out of 10, which gives you room to improve. Wolf Paul said Calvin's amazing. So you have 3 people that gave you good scores. iMog gave you a C. So you really are substandard senior engineer material. You just might want to turn in your resignation right now to the company. I can't have people getting a 7 out of 10. This is totally unacceptable, Calvin.
I'll look for my paper so I can submit that.
Yeah, iMog's a hard ass. He's really a hard ass. But normally what happens here, I got David. I think David's the one who's always asking me political questions, like if we're going to call it COVID-19 or we're going to call it the Chinese virus or whatever. So yeah, so I do appreciate everyone. It's about an hour. Once again, upcoming schedule. I'm going to press my handy little button right here. Upcoming live training schedule. You go to fmtraining.tv. Press the live tab right here. You will see the next 6 days. What we're going to do is right after April Fool's Day, we're going to insert the tools menu conversation right there. Calvin's going to be back on Friday to talk about FileMaker charts, which is, they're great when they work, but it's like, right? Sometimes you want to like rip out your teeth or fingernails or something. They're kind of tough to do, and they're tough to make FileMaker charts look good. There's some funky code in there. And what it is, FileMaker, so you understand this, and I'll just give you a preview. FileMaker didn't write their own charting subroutine. Why do that when you can pay someone for a library? So they actually, some of the code in FileMaker they didn't write. They go out and buy a library of code that already does something, like generates PDFs. And then they buy it or license it and they put it in the application. And so the charting engine they didn't write. They kind of build the interface for it, but in terms of what the options are and what it does, it's this other company stuff. The PDF generator is nothing they wrote. There's already companies out there that build PDFs. So FileMaker Claris Corp will go out and license technology and inject it into the app. Barcodes, scanning barcodes in FileMaker Go, another classic case. They're not going to write that. Companies already have done barcodes. Why reinvent the wheel? So they go out, they write a check, they bring the license code in, and then they drop the library in there. It's kind of like if you bought a custom function, dropped it in your FileMaker solution, and then called it, right? Everyone assumes it's yours, but no, you bought it from someone else or whatever you did. So the charts are that way for sure. Then Monday the 30th, we're going to dig into FileMaker Cloud 2. FileMaker Cloud is a big conversation. So we will cover the FileMaker ID and kind of what that means. It's a big deal. And then iMog wants to talk about Thursday with FileMaker Go, which is interesting. So tomorrow is FileMaker Security, which will also bring us your questions. EF Echo Foxtrot Golf says, "Don't give up on us, Calvin." And then TopCat19 says, "I think Calvin's doing great. He has a lot of knowledge and maybe less education skills." Yeah, and that's partly why I do what I do, and people like or hate me, but because I'm sitting there frequently, like I haven't done custom menus in a year, and so so yesterday we go, "Oh, let's do custom menus." I'm like, well, I don't know if I can do that live because there's so many of these training sessions. We're not really practicing a lot in advance. We're senior engineers doing it 30 years. Mostly this stuff we know. And so when I get into a spot which is a little bit sketchier that I haven't used because I don't like it for whatever reason, like charts and custom menus, then I bring an engineer to help out with that, and that's the point with that. So because they've got recent combat experience in that topic, that's why we bring them in. And so we do a lot more FileMaker Go. Security we can handle. Charting will be interesting. FileMaker Cloud 2, I'm the best guy in the company for that because we've been doing training on that. So that's very exciting. So TopCat, once again, and I think if we were doing this like a DevCon presentation or a video training, see, when we do videos, this is all live, but understand we do videos, it's like, and then Calvin would do it, and I go, "Stop, Calvin, you can't say that." So Calvin would have stopped the conversation and gone back and restated that, except that you all heard it before I could stop him. And so that's the difference between a live video and a recorded video. We make all these mistakes all the time. They get cut out. There is an outtake video of me with using 4-letter words like a chainsaw because it's cut up over like 8 months of me making mistakes and swearing at the computer. And so the video guys think that's real funny. So hopefully that won't get out. But anyway, it was suggested that I should bring Corona to the office with me, and I'm like, okay, well, because I had an engineer do this to me. He said, he's very somber. He sent me another senior, and they said, "Oh yeah, I've got Corona. I'm going to have to isolate myself." And I'm like, shit. And he goes, and then he starts showing me all these 6-packs of Corona beer that he's lining up, which apparently people don't want to drink because they think that Corona beer is somehow attached to the virus, which is just stupid, but whatever. So maybe you can get a sale on that. But yeah, MailSoft, absolutely. Last comment, and I'll kind of wrap things up here. He says, "Always hire people smarter than you." I tell the engineers that. I say, because I've done the senior engineer thing. Typically I get called when everyone else is stuck, and I generally can unstick it. But I told them, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, we're all screwed, right? So the idea is to always have people smarter than you. Calvin's one of those people. I just have to get him to slow down because he trains. Calvin treats all of you like he's talking to himself. And so you have one senior engineer talking to another senior, and it's just about 5,000 miles an hour. So we just get him to slow down a little bit. And yeah, and of course, and then David was asking about the command option escape and the force quit, and we tried that. So the Kiosk mode is pretty locked down, which is pretty interesting. So anyway, that's it for today. It's coming up on 2 o'clock. Wish you all the best. Feel free to check out our training at fmtraining.tv. That's this website right here. Make sure that if you have a bundle, which you can come here and click the bundle. If you want a discount on the bundle, some of you have asked about that. Email support@RC Consulting. We will send you a discount for a renewal or for purchase. But it's important that you have these things. That way, with a little bit of revenue that you kick in, we aggregate that together and we're able to bring you live training, and we can keep Calvin employed, right? Calvin, you want to stay employed, right? You like your job?
Sounds good. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't find any printer paper to submit my resignation. So I guess I'm stuck.
Okay, I was thinking that you couldn't find printer paper to wipe your ass because you're out of toilet paper. So I was like, that might be painful. So, you have toilet paper and where are you? You're Pennsylvania, right? Where are you at, Calvin?
Yeah. No, we're good.
Oh, you're good. No, I know. I'm just asking about the stores there. I was in California. They still got very little toilet paper. They've all lost their minds. I was in Nevada the other day, and they had a little bit, but people were behaving themselves. So people in Nevada had more of a brain. California is just tough. So anyway, all right, we'll let everyone go. Awesome. See you tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
the guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected, the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.